Man, the 90s were a great era. Tupac was still alive, the PlayStation 1 came out, everyone was smoking crack, and we had action movie stars. These were actors who were solely in action movies. They were macho men who we could look up to because they could shoot a gun, punch people in the face really well, and get the sexy lady at the end. All in a day's work. There's Jackie Chan, a Chinese stuntman known for coordinating his own stunts with his team. Arnold Schwarzenegger, former Mr. Olympia turned action hero. Sylvester Stallone, who wrote and starred in his own feature film. Jean-Claude Van Damme, a martial artist and ballet dancer. Steven Seagal, who's known for all of these action stars are known for various reasons, and it's probably safe to say that Steven Seagal is the least known, or at least the least popular of the group. And when lined up, it's kind of obvious as to why. That's right, all of the other male stars are foreigners. That's right, they're all foreigners to the US. Well, except for Sylvester Stallone, but that doesn't really matter. I'm sure most people know of, or at least have heard of Steven Seagal, but they probably couldn't name any of his films. Seagal never really made any great films, with his highest rated to be Under Siege, and you probably haven't even seen that film either. But he is known for a couple other things. He's a master sensei of Aikido, where he throws people around in a coordinated fashion. He's a self-proclaimed master shooter.
I'm trying to pass down some of the secrets that have made me a master shooter.
He says he invented the front kick that Anderson Silva used when he defeated Vito Belfort. He apparently got choked out by Jean LaBelle after he said that he was invulnerable to being choked out. He's a massive Vladimir Putin advocate. And he also has a few allegations of assault from women who say that they were inappropriately touched or acted upon by Steven. There's even a picture of Steven Seagal's hand on a 16-year-old Katherine Heigl's chest that Jimmy Kimmel found to be absolutely hilarious. So you know, Steven Seagal, all around great guy. I hadn't seen any of his movies, so I thought it would be a good idea to watch one. Well, okay, that's a lie. I actually sorted movies by the lowest rated because I was looking for something to make fun of, and I noticed a trend occurring. Can you guess what that trend was? I decided to look at his more modern movies, and there are a couple to choose from, and I did skim through all of them, and whilst all of them are potential masterpieces, for this video, I decided to land on one called Cartels, also known as Killing Salazar. Produced and distributed by Lionsgate, who also made Saw, and also by Action House, so you know that this movie is going to be full of, that's right, houses. This movie begins with some exposition, explaining that this cartel, the Brodsky Keeg, has been carved from blood and fire, whatever that means. It goes straight into the action sequence at the cartel kingpin's house, see, houses, where Steven Seagal and his team plan to infiltrate it.
Okay, everybody listen up. We move on the gold word. Everybody knows the drill.
Seagal, a self-proclaimed firearms master, holds his weapon awkwardly through this scene and actually also through every other scene that he's in this movie, where he holds his automatic rifle as if it has no recoil, a shotgun like a pistol like a squirt gun, or as if he's about to pray with it. I'm no firearms master, but I'm pretty sure that this isn't the way that you hold a pistol. Considering literally every other actor, extra, and stuntman in this movie do know how to hold it, I'm not sure about this firearms master claim. He even swaps his gun from one hand to the other instead of doing the safer and easier thing, which would be to move your body. Back to the movie. We're introduced to the leader of the cartel, Salazar, who throughout this whole movie speaks in slow motion.
Did I ever tell you about how I escaped from the Russian army through Afghanistan? 91. And ended up doing hits for Larissa's father here in Odessa.
Whilst he's talking in 50% speed, he's playing former UFC welterweight champion Georges St. Pierre to a chess match.
You're learning.
Salazar explains, very slowly, that if GSP were to beat him, which he never has before, Salazar will give him his whole empire, which is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, because Salazar moves his king into a very vulnerable position and then says check. Now, I'm not a chess master, like Steven Seagal probably is, but I'm pretty sure that this isn't a check. In fact, I'm pretty sure you're kind of fucked. You can't go backwards, because you'll get captured. You can't take the pawns in front of you, because you'll get captured. And if GSP moves his bishop to this position, then it's a checkmate against you. So when you said check, I'm not sure you actually know how to play chess. So I'm honestly pretty surprised that GSP hasn't beaten you to a chess match. But then again, you probably taught him the rules that you don't actually know yourself. So strange.
You're learning.
When Salazar does say check, Seagal and his group take it as their moment to infiltrate the house. So we can assume that Salazar has sold himself and his cartel out. As Salazar and GSP rush into the house, Seagal and his team of actually trained weapon experts rush in. Salazar takes a glimpse at who we assume to be his wife, and the team rushes in, they arrest GSP and shoot Salazar, which doesn't kill him as we'll see later on. They want to pretend that he's dead. So this movie is pretty much a flashback that's told between Seagal, who's wearing his leather jacket and glasses that he wears in literally every other movie, and this US Marshal Jensen. This is a pretty common storytelling technique because as the interviewer and interviewee chat, they can say exposition without coming off as forced, which can actually work pretty well when you understand what's being said. Except the problem with this movie is that it's kind of hard to tell sometimes what Seagal is actually saying because he tends to talk with his mouth closed.
Do you have any idea if Marshal Sconey got operational approval from his superiors to fly U.S. Marshal's prisoner transport plane into foreign soil?
So at this point in the movie, I honestly didn't really understand what was going on. That's in addition to other really small random things that are just not explained throughout this movie. Like for example, this DEA agent, and the only reason I know that she's a DEA agent is because they wrote it at the start. But the problem with that is that they wrote it when the starting credits are on, so I missed it for the first couple of times that I saw this movie. And of course, it's just a habit not to read the starting credits. But the problem with her is that she's front and center in every scene that she's in this movie, but she literally says one line throughout the whole movie.
I can see them coming.
And the other weird thing about her is that she's not wearing any tactical gear when everyone else in the scene is wearing tactical gear. The only thing that she's wearing throughout this whole movie is a leather jacket and this hat. Look, if Steven Seagal, master of leather jackets, is not wearing his leather jacket in this scene, and that guy's a weapons and tactical master, then I'm sorry, little girl, you probably shouldn't be wearing this leather jacket in this scene. You should probably be wearing some tactical gear. The other strange thing about this movie that doesn't necessarily happen later on are these really weird and super jarring transitions, which feel weird and don't look good at all. Anyway, now we flash back to when Jensen joins his SEAL team. When he arrives, he chooses to pass the parking lot and park in the middle of the road. Then he meets his commander Sconey, who is a stereotypical asshole because the writer couldn't think of something original. And they give him a bit of a hard time, as army people do, I guess. Probably because he couldn't find the parking lot.
The parking lot's down there, loser. What an idiot. So stupid.
After a training montage, they are told about their mission to transport Salazar's body.
Sounds like some typical DEA bullshit.
Sound like some dumb fucking plan they gonna get us in trouble. Why is it that in every movie, soldiers have to complain about the missions that they're given? It also sounds like the easiest mission you could get. All you have to do is transport a dead body. Well, look, to be fair, that's what they think it is until this Commander Daryl shows them that Salazar is alive and they have to transport him through Romania to the United States. No one knows, including the staff of this hotel that they go to, that the team is there, and understandably, they are a bit paranoid of getting ambushed. They have strict orders from Commander Sconey not to reveal their position to anyone. So, Jensen goes upstairs to the roof, finds this busboy, and reveals their position. Amanda Chavez, played by Martine Argent, renowned actress known for this movie and nothing else, understandably gets upset at Jensen.
You've compromised our position.
No, I didn't. I protected it.
Chavez and Jensen argue until Commander Sconey diffuses the situation and tasks them with the important mission of getting dinner. So just to be clear, this car ride that they go on is the first time that they have a normal conversation with each other. He reveals a secret to her, telling her that he wasn't part of this infamous raid, and she responds by saying that
We've all got secrets.
Now, this is an important part, not because of anything that is said or done in this scene, but mostly because, again, this is the first time that they have had a somewhat normal conversation. So it would be kind of weird if later on in the movie they acted as if they were in love with each other. Luckily, that doesn't happen in this movie. GSP and his goonies arrive at the hotel. As to why he's out of custody, I don't know. We just saw him get arrested. They don't tell us how he gets out of custody, but they give us a why about an hour later into this film. Anyway, this is about the same time that Salazar overhears that his wife has been killed in a car bomb. In the parking lot, returning from their trip, Jensen and Chavez hear the inevitable ambush approaching. This is the point in the movie where the best part happens. Seagal, as angry as ever at Jensen, gives him a speech and continuously drops the F-bomb every second word because he wants us to know that he's really angry.
Fucking.
But he gives us a performance of a lifetime and some really great one-liners, such as,
And I was not born on a fucking turnip truck, man.
and my personal favorite,
When they call me in, you're gonna live or you're gonna fucking die.
I didn't realize there was any other choices apart from that.
Fuck.
Then Jensen gives his opinion on the situation.
I believe the attack was coordinated.
They came at a specific time to a specific place with specific intentions. I'm pretty sure that's what coordinated means.
You see any weapons?
No, they threw the bullets, Steven. Maybe that's why he's wearing two watches, because he's too dumb to remember which wrist he put it on. Back at the hotel, the coordinated team begins to make their way to Salazar in an attempt to kill him. Salazar reveals that he built the hotel that they're actually in, and so this leads to the US Army and Salazar teaming up to escape.
Cover me!
But I'm not really sure how good this team is. He just got shot in the neck. I'm not sure he's going to respond to you. Maybe you should have covered him when he asked. So this is where the movie starts to drag on a little bit. There are a couple of good shooting scenes and a couple of good fighting scenes. Well, at least the ones that Seagal aren't a part of. And we get to where GSP asks specifically for Commander Darryl to enter the building for negotiation. We find out that they are in cahoots, and that's why he was released.
You leveled her house with a bomb.
We also get this really amazing part at the Romanian headquarters.
Give me a set rep.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the guy you should have called when your shit went sideways.
Well, I don't know if that's a good idea, because after they call you, they could end up dead or they could end up alive. I'm sure he thinks that line sounds cool, but it doesn't answer the question. We return to the shootout in the building. Chavez gets kidnapped and the girl in the leather jacket gets shot and dies.
What you say?
You know what would have helped in this situation? Tactical gear. At no point do they explain why she's not wearing tactical gear and why she's wearing this fucking leather jacket. As they get close to escaping, Salazar explains to Jensen that he has $500 million locked away somewhere with this key that he had initially promised Commander Darryl.
I told you I left 3 billion behind. But I didn't say I left everything behind.
And then Salazar has a really interesting observation on Jensen and Chavez.
Maybe she's more than your partner. Am I right?
Maybe so.
They've known each other for less than a week. You know how I know that? Because he says so.
Source says you're against her. No, I did not know Amanda Chavez before this assignment.
And he's known them for less than 24 hours. And he wasn't even in the car when they had this amazing bonding session with each other. So I don't understand where he gets this idea from, but fine. They're in love. Sure. Let's just go with that. Seagal, now part of the counter raid, finds GSP and they begin their fantastic fight scene. It's the holding of the position that really does it for me. Like, throughout this movie, we've seen some actual decent fight scenes. We have a real UFC champion who can legitimately fight in real life, and professional stuntmen playing characters. I know in Seagal's mind, he thinks that his moves are like the coolest thing ever, but this is legitimately one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and that's no fault of GSP's. Mind you, this is a real shot in the movie. Were they lying on the floor when they filmed this? I'm pretty sure you could have just left that part out. You know that part in Avengers Infinity War when Doctor Strange sees 14 million possibilities and them winning was only one of them? This movie, in this universe, is the only time Steven Seagal could possibly beat GSP to a fight, whether it's their characters or in real life. Speaking of illogical things, Jensen and Chavez kiss soon after Jensen beats Commander Daryl to a fight and he saves her. When they attempt to escape, Salazar comes in, tricks them, and then takes away Chavez.
You still haven't figured it out, have you?
We also find out that the busboy is in on it. Didn't see that coming. And now we're back to the interrogation. This is where Seagal reveals that Chavez is in fact Salazar's little sister. Remember when I mentioned Saw at the start? Yeah, so they do this whole Saw montage of the little clues that they left in the movie to reveal it. But to be honest, it was truly quite obvious that Chavez was somehow related or knew Salazar in some sort of way from the way that she acted and the way that they shot the film. So the whole reveal just doesn't work at all. And just as the movie is ending, they reveal that Salazar has given Jensen his $5 million fortune. But regardless of continuity errors, bad acting, bad scripting, and considering its low budget, if this movie didn't have Steven Seagal in it, it would actually not be that bad. The fighting scenes have to cater around Seagal not being able to move like he used to when he was younger. His acting is, and I guess has never been really good. You're relying on exposition to be told by someone who is kind of hard to understand. And overall, he just has this really weird vibe to him. But you know what? To his credit, Seagal is good at something, and that's giving me content. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and maybe even share it with someone. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then please do. It'll help me make videos. And down in the comments below, let me know about some bad movies that you've seen. That's all, and I'm out.